challenge is in a market as big as India, with very, very established and set practices when it comes to milk, for example, customs, beliefs, rituals are set in stone. How do you break through, and how do you convince people, especially mothers, women at home, working women, how to change from what they have been drinking for centuries, for generations, to this packaged form of milk which they cannot see because of the packaging, that they don't need to boil because it's already pre-boiled, that they don't have to worry about because there's no preservatives inside, but just that people refuse to believe, refuse to accept. So the big communication and marketing challenge is to make them see the benefits.
I head business development for Twitter for most of Asia Pacific, which basically means you will find me on a random coffee shop or at an airport or in a plane going somewhere or the other. So that part of my job I don't enjoy. But at the same time, because of the product that I work for and Twitter and what it stands for as a brand and as a product, it keeps me on my toes and it keeps me excited. Every day, something fascinating happens on the platform that gives us all a reason to believe that this is the product we want to work for. A case in point being very recently, an Indian somewhere in the UAE tweeted out to Sushma Swaraj saying, my sister is held captive. He was in India, but he tweeted out to Sushma Swaraj, my sister is held captive at some place somewhere in the UAE, and we are unable to reach out to her. Can the government help? Sushma Swaraj reached out, tweeted back to him, copying the Indian commissioner in the UAE. He then took action with the local police, rescued his sister, and eventually she tweeted back to him, your sister is safe and sound in the Indian embassy, we have taken care of it. And all of this happened in a matter of a few hours or a day or two at the max. And the request came via Twitter. Now imagine for an Indian reaching out to the foreign minister of the country, an ordinary citizen. It is an impossible task if you had thought of it a couple of years ago. But now because of the openness of the platform, this thing was made possible. And it gives pride when you see these stories emerge out on a daily basis on a platform, be it the Arab uprising in Egypt or a simple event like this, which was very dramatic for the family involved. And it gives us pride and gives us motivation to sit on those planes and go to these airports and have jet lag. It makes it worthwhile.
Two things. I think the biggest challenge that I face as a marketer is not about brand out or about what consumers perceive about the brand, but getting the brand in. So the entire organization actually getting behind the brand purpose and living it every day. I think that's been my biggest challenge, and that's where the biggest learning as marketers has been on how do you get the entire organization behind the brand and the brand values. So that's the first one, I think. And on the second one, of course, it's all about innovation today with the fast pace of innovation. How do you spot the next trend? How do you stay ahead of the curve, but just as much ahead? So you can't just leapfrog and leave your customer and your brand and your business behind. So that achieving that balance, I think, has been the second challenge and something that I really enjoy doing.
Marketers put in a lot of effort into developing products. A lot of R&D goes into it. Tremendous amount of innovations, feature sets, specifications, new things come into products. The biggest challenge, therefore, for marketers is to be able to communicate those value props and the advantages of what makes that product so unique and relevant for consumers. When you put in so much effort into developing products, we do need to communicate, but do it in a way that actually makes sense to the consumer from a consumer benefit perspective, from a user scenario perspective, rather than getting into too many details. And it's where consumers really will start discovering what's more. And that's where the pride of ownership really comes in. So the challenge starts getting converted into an opportunity for marketers when you look at how you actually help the consumers discover more, want more, and be part of the life cycle and journey, and then stay with the brand. Because when people grow with the brand, that's when your brand is on the right track.
I think marketing is changing, and marketing 2.0, 3.0. And at Dabur, basically we are looking at, as a marketeer, we are looking at how we can actually remain relevant there and appeal to the consumer. I think one of the biggest challenges for a brand manager is that basically he has multiple channels, multiple consumers, and multiple products. So how does he actually ensure that the brand core remains the same? Gone are the days, I remember 10, 15 years back when I was a brand manager on Fair and Lovely, when I used to have one agency, two agencies, one doing my entire thinking, the creative agency, one doing my entire execution, which was Group M. Today, if I look at any brand manager in marketing, he has at least 8 agencies: digital activation, PR, creative, media planning, media execution, etc., etc. And he risks becoming just a postman, just sending messages and ensuring all of them are doing their work. And that's not really liberating a brand manager to go and meet the consumer, go and meet the retailer and get consumer insights. I think that's the challenge that everybody faces right now.